John Constantine Hellblazer, a staple of horror comic books for more than 20 years, is coming to an end. I'm holding up some of the last issues of Hellblazer. This is issue number 297, issue 298. It's going to be wrapping up at issue number 300. What happened? Why is it ending? I feel very strongly about this because I've been collecting this particular comic book character ever since he first appeared in Swamp Thing number 37 as a supporting character. Then he got his own series, and I've been collecting that ever since. This is issue number 1, and as you can see, I've been collecting it for a long time. The quality has always been very good. And as you can see here, you have some of the satire on politics. That's been a long time element in the comic books. And I'm holding up here some of the issues by Jamie Delano and John Ridgway, the first team for Hellblazer series, who really set the tone and really set the standards of excellence in this comic book series. So I feel very passionate about them wrapping up the series like this, as I've been such a long time reader of this comic book. And there's two different ways of saying the name John Constantine. In British would say Constantine, and Americans will often say it as Constantine. I don't care which way it's pronounced. The problem is the DC Universe is revamping everything into this new 52 comic book storyline, and it's affecting all the comic books in the DC Universe, and it is also affecting everything the vertical, such as Hellblazer, which is a vertical comic book. But what they're doing is they're trading books like this, which has mature themes, and they're trading in for a watered down PG-13 Constantine, which is the new title. Fuck that.
Hellblazer is the life of a Londoner who smokes like a chimney. He's street smart, he's a trickster, and a wise ass. He's an anti-hero who gambles with one hand tied behind his back, often coming out the winner. Sometimes he doesn't, which makes him human. The book combines horror and fantasy elements such as demons and ghosts with a suburban British background. He also has a bad habit of using his friends to get what he wants. Actually, guilt is his best friend. I believe ex-writer Garth Ennis described Constantine the best in an interview. He said, "John Constantine is a cheat. He might lose his battle with Satan, but when Satan walks away with his victory, he'll look down to find that his pack of cigarettes is gone. That's the kind of person Constantine is." The series has a long history. The character was created by Alan Moore to give the Swamp Thing character a mystical advisor. This mage bore a striking resemblance to the musician Sting, and was often seen as a troubleshooter in a magic world. Soon the spin-off series of Hellblazer was started with Jamie Delano in the writer's seat. He's my own favorite writer since he did everything from scratch, giving Constantine a family, a longtime friend in Chaz Chandler. The series always took on an adult approach in the stories. The history might be brooding, dark and bloody, but it's always satisfactory. Very few books maintain a consistent quality of writing as this one.
Well, finally, I want to ask any anybody who might like to share their favorite memory of Hellblazer. Do you have a favorite story? Is there anything that you want to share with us? Please comment in the video section below. And I just want to add a couple more questions to the people out there that might have an opinion or two. Number one, how do you feel about the Hellblazer series wrapping up at issue 300? Are you angry? Are you confused? Maybe you just don't care? Number two, what do you think happened with DC taking down the Vertigo's longest running series, Hellblazer?
Hellblazer's ending in issue number 300. How do I feel about it? Honestly, I feel it's a cheap ploy. I think it's a maneuver for DC to try and pull some stuff on us, and not in a good way. Personally, how do I feel about it? It's kind of aggravating. I mean, you've got a very interesting character that's been going on since the late 80s, early 90s with Swamp Thing and all that, and it's aggravating. Honestly, it really is. What do I think was the cause of all this? Why? Like I said, it's maybe partially office politics. I mean, shortly thereafter, the current editor of Vertigo took off. Was it because of this, or one way or the other? Who knows? I mean, we'll never know. Or if we do, it's going to be so layered in double speak that we'll never get to the real bottom of it. Honestly, considering they're going to be starting up as Constantine under the regular DC imprint, that means they're going to pull the teeth on the character. Is it necessary to have nudity and swearing and blood and all this? No, not really. But the fact that you're going to get away from the mature themes, that is the reason behind Vertigo. It's not ideal for such a character that's always been meant to be put into that world, a much more mature world that doesn't deal with superheroes all the time. So that's just my feelings on it, and there I stand. So
it stinks, and I don't like it.
The Hellblazer end. I don't think it's a really, in terms of what I think of the ending of it at 300 issues, I think it's been a good run. There have been so many interesting writers and artists and arcs and actually wrapping up of continuity and things like that, it's not the worst thing if it's ending. At least it seems to be ending on a high note. I'm still bugged by it because it seems to me that there's still more stories to tell as Hellblazer rather than the new Constantine that's coming out after issue 300 of Hellblazer finishes off the first series. I mean, it's been adapted to so many different possibilities. It's gone all around the world. It's found all kinds of ideas with magic and demons, human nature, and the fact that, as much as you want to do the right thing, as much as you hope to do the right thing, there are situations where you don't, because you're flawed, because you're not Superman, because you're a guy you're a lucky chancer from Liverpool, and you don't have those resources, those moral resources, and most people don't, which is, I think, why a lot of adults related to the comic book, because it's written toward their angle, people getting older, people trying to escape their pasts, or at least try to downplay them, try to make up for what happened years and years ago. Now, and I think that in general the success rate in terms of good stories and good art was at least 60%. I know other people would probably, there are other fans who would probably put it higher, but I'm saying it's just almost any artistic endeavor with this many people involved over this many years, 60% is a good success rate. I mean, it's not as if It's not as if the works of George Lucas have that kind of success rate. It's not as if the works of Steven Spielberg necessarily have that kind of success rate, or anything like that, despite all the different people involved. So, and I think it's because the character is very strong, and it's just been incredible to read it, and to go back and be able to reread the tales of John Constantine has been enlightening. You take it differently 5 years, when you're 5 years older than you might have taken it when you first read it, when you first picked it up on the newsstand. And that's something that I think is part of the best writing, part of literature, part of the best art, is the ability to take it from a different perspective years later, to learn new things from it, to see things or read things or hear things that you didn't see before. And that's one of the reasons I'm kind of sad it's going. Now, as far as DC's decision, why they decided, okay, let's get rid of this. Well, obviously, they have this new Constantine series coming out, and it seems that when the fans were up in arms about the initial cancellation of Hellblazer, it seemed that, you know, the DC editorial people were promising that this was going to revamp the character. They're going to make him younger. They're going to put him. They're going to do what they've been doing since they started the new 52 a couple of Septembers ago. They're going to bring it more in line with that, so that there's, you know, so it's a tidier universe essentially, and so that, again, the idea is to appeal to a younger crowd, not necessarily kids, but at least teenagers and young adults. And I think that's going to be going on for that seems to be their tendency now. They're hoping for another audience. I think that it wasn't as if they asked the fans about it. Nowadays, you can ask the fans about this. I mean, the example of Gail Simone, who was fired from writing Batgirl by DC, and then when the fans protested widely on social media and such, they rehired her in 2 weeks. So, very interesting that they did that. But with Hellblazer, when the fans did pretty much the same thing, I think this is all, as far as DC is concerned, it's all set in stone, just as the new 52 was. On some level, they weren't really going to take that much fan input. They believe that they know what's going to sell, and that's what they're hoping for. And, well, if they're right, but I don't know if I'm going to be that enthusiastic a consumer of Constantine if it doesn't at least maintain the writing and art levels, if not the maturity levels of Hellblazer. So, there you are.
Well, there's no shortage of chain smoking on the Hellblazer series. Wait a minute. I don't smoke cigarettes. Still, it's been a long ride down back. The Lord knows it's been a long enough ride. All good things must come to an end. Still, there's one good thing. We can always go back and reread the Gothic glory days. Still, it's going to be a little strange not to see it anymore on the shelf. This character has taken me down to places mostly associated with the Gothic underworld or horror. The Hellblazer series has been my tour guide to all the way down to that place of misery. This world of hell has been my doorstep to my reading purposes. It's never going to be the same again, and that's a damn shame.